Alright then. Let's get this underway. So, as you can probably see from the title here, I'm going to attempt to, do a review of a movie I saw about, at this point, about 24 hours ago. It was called Ready Player One. Now, if you're just here to get some quick validation on the movie on whether or not you should see it, why you'd be talking to me, or not talking to me, but talking to me, listening to me on that subject, I have no idea. But overall, my thoughts on the movie it was just kind of, it's a movie that exists. And now, that's what you want, by all means, go right ahead. Now, for those of you sticking around, I'm going to try and gather my thoughts and do a professional movie review here, since I'm not actually ever really done one of these. If you're wondering why there's a game up here and why you're not seeing me on screen, is because, well, I don't have a camera, and, yeah. But never want to shy away from the fact that, a lot of people like to do live stream reviews of movies, so this is me, attempting that right here. So, I guess, first thing I'd like to say is just talk about some positives of the movie. I mean, first off, the movie was it was very well shot. It was beautifully shot. The CGI in it was done amazingly, and all the stuff looked beautiful. And stuff like that, which, of course, one is to expect something like that when, a movie that has, Steven Spielberg behind it. Go figure. And, I mean, the characters were all kind of, I was kind of interested in the characters. I kind of liked some of them, kind of didn't like some of the other ones. They're all, designed well in and out of the whole VR world. If you're not familiar with the concept of Ready Player One, the basic synopsis of it is, the world sucks, and so there's a cool, awesome VR world that everybody hangs out in. That's like a full dive VR world. And like I said, the visuals of that, all that going on inside there, are really interesting, really amazing, and I thought they were really cool. But then again, of course, I'm the type of guy that I can watch a movie that's all CGI, and I can really enjoy it. By the way, if you do not like CGI in movies, you will not like this movie, as it is probably half to two-thirds of it are inside this virtual world, possibly even more than that. I mean, oh yeah, so also another thing I really liked in there is I'm stuttering and stammering because, yeah, I'm not good at this. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try to get into spoilers here. If I do, I'll try and warn everybody that I'm getting into spoilers here. But, I mean, without spoiling anything, basically our main character is the golden child, who is really awesome, and he's got this buddy of his who's this robo-orc dude that's, really cool and kind of awesome, And they're all trying to get these magic keys because basically Steve Jobs died, and now whoever finds these keys gets to become, the new ruler of Apple, essentially. So they get to, take over this virtual world that's nothing but, pop culture everywhere. I mean, they kind of hint at, some non-pop culture stuff in there, but, for the most part, it just kind of focuses on, pop culture from, 70s, 80s, 90s, that kind of thing. So they're going on this quest to find this stuff, and you know, like I said, I really like some of the way they did the characters. Like, there's this one scene where, like, he's the main character. His name is Percival, and he's like kind of smitten with this other girl called Artemis, who is apparently like this, like, you know, the typical, you know, gamer girl, really good at games, and is like famous because she got like all these famous streams and vlogs and stuff. You know, gotta, you know, popularity I could only hope to achieve here. But anyway, so like her bike breaks, and he takes it to his orc robot buddy friend, who's apparently really good at mechanics. She's got this big old mechanic shop where she's working on the Iron Giant, which a lot of people in the theater really liked. I was never a fan of the Iron Giant, so I didn't carry too anyway. But he was doing this thing where he's just kind of like showing off all his like geek stuff to this girl, and it's really awkward and just kind of pitiful. But you know, like I you know where he's coming from, because I, you know, myself have done something like that. So, you know, that was kind of charming. I enjoyed it. Whatever. But, you know, I mean, yeah, like I said, visually and a lot of things like that, this movie is good. However, there were quite a few things in this movie that I just did not kind of irked me the wrong way. And, you know, maybe they're nitpicks. Maybe they're not nitpicks. I don't know. You know, it's just like, I mean, one of these ones. It's I mean, definitely nitpick there, but they kind of go out of their way to like show off that this Artemis girl has the bike from Akira. They even like just like kind of, you know, yeah. There's a small conversation that they had mentioning that this is a bike from Akira and how awesome that is, and there's no Akira slide. I mean, you know, you don't have to do an Akira slide, but I mean, when you point out that that's the bike from Akira, you know, you're kind of expecting an Akira slide. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that's, you know, entered into the pop culture. You can go online and just, you know, Google Akira slide and see like a big long list of stuff that, you know, totally uses the Akira slide. So, you know, why would you not have an Akira slide? Is it nitpicking? Yeah, probably. I mean, that aside, like, there's a couple of things that just kind of like character motivations that would like suddenly just like change all at once. Like there's this one scene where they're looking for the second key, and there's this big dance number where they're like doing all this dance stuff, and then like she gets mad at him because he's like his head's not fully in the game, and then like storms off like she's mad, you know, like one would see in like a, you know, the third act breakup of any movie. And then all of a sudden later it's you know, like in like two, three scenes later, like they've made up and they're like about to kiss each other. And it's just like, okay, we just saw this scene of you like getting angry at this guy, telling him about how he's kind of a, you know, he's trying to find these keys for the wrong reasons, and you're just like, yeah, like, and you don't know anything about me, and because he professes his love for her, he's like, you don't love me, and blah 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 blah, and all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, you know, that's good and all, and I totally understand where you're coming from, because yeah, according to this movie, he's known you for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes tops. You had a brief conversation in this workshop, and then, you know, you dance on the dance floor, and that's about the gist of it. And like he's already like, oh yeah, I'm totally in love with you, and she's like, no. But then, yeah, like I said, like a few scenes later, they're about to kiss, and I'm like, well, that was fast. How do you go from that to this? And I mean, yeah, I mean it's a modern day movie, and you gotta whatever you gotta do that. But then also later, like in that same scene, when like they meet each other in real life, because it turns out she was just like, you know, the next block over from his, which, okay, seems a little bit contrived, but hey, you know, we got a 2.5 hour runtime. Let's get this started here. And you know, they're acting all like kind of like they're into each other, and then she all of a sudden gets incredibly shy because she has this birthmark on her face. And I mean, I'm not gonna. I can't say for sure, but you know, like, why you would feel somebody would be immediately repulsed by you because you have a birthmark on your face. And it is a considerable birthmark, but it's just, I mean, if it was like a deformity or a scar or something, I guess I'd understand more. But yeah, it's yeah. There's just, you know, like I guess I don't understand why. And plus, if this was going to be like a specific thing where she's embarrassed by this birthmark, which, okay, fine. If you're embarrassed by it, then you're embarrassed by it. You know, whatever. But like, it never comes up again. It shows up for this one scene, and then it's gone. And then it never shows up again. I mean, there's scenes where like they're in public, and you know, she never tries to hide it from anybody else. She never tries anything, and yeah, it confused me more than anything why it was ever brought up as really like a thing. I mean, if I'm missing something, you know, here, feel free to call me an idiot and be like, hey, you know, whatever. And also, like, that's also not the first time that she's kind of inconsistent, because there's also another time where she gets really angry and yells at him and says, oh, in order to get these keys, you got to be willing to risk all your stuff, and she gets angry because there's a scene where they got to get past King Kong in this race, but nobody gets past King Kong because he, like, just immediately grabs you and kills you, and when you die in this virtual world, like, you lose all your stuff, and you basically start from you know, level 1 again and have to level yourself up, which, in a place like that, you know, I can kind of understand the method of, well, yeah, but I don't want to lose my stuff, and it's you know, King Kong's kind of already there and going to kill us all, which, you know, he does do, because, like, when she's yelling at him, like, he's going to do a stop because King Kong was about to smash him up in his DeLorean, which, okay, was kind of cool to see the DeLorean again, but I mean, it's yeah, so she's angry at him, but, like, you know, I'm not the smartest man, but I kind of think having all that stuff would, you know, aid in the quest for, you know, finding these magic keys where you have to do these, you know, challenges. So I guess I'm not just confused why she was why that even came up. But also, as well, on top of keeping your stuff, there's a part in the movie where, like, the bad guys show up. The bad guys are like, I know it's said in the movie, but I can't for the life of me remember what they were. They're like this big corporation that, like, wants to get these keys so they can rule cyberspace and basically fill it with microtransactions. So feel free to you know, make your EA references here. You know, or, you know, Activision or Ubisoft or, all the guys out there that are just, cramming as many microtransactions in the game. And they were like this like super guild that in the game that like has like enough pull to like have like their own custom stuff in the game, and like somehow like when their guys die, like they immediately like come back with, I guess, all their stuff, and plus they also got enough clout to have like their own like SWAT team to attack people in the real world. I guess that's probably a spoiler there. Sorry about that. I didn't say anything, but there's a scene where they have their own SWAT team and they're doing stuff, and I'm like, okay, I thought they were just a corporation. Are they the police? Well, no, because spoiler, the police show up later, which just confused me even further. But I mean, like, their goal is yeah, get the keys and be evil. So I mean, I guess whatever. But I was never really clear on like where they stood, especially because they seem to have like their own stuff in the game, as I said before. But like, if you can put your own stuff in the game, don't you kind of like control the game, or are they just like really good modders? Do they just have people that like mod the game on the payroll? Because I don't know. It just I don't know. It just bugged me for some reason that. Maybe if I read the book, like it explains it all in the book. If that's the case, well, I didn't read the book because, well, I don't read so good. Anyway, so yeah, but I mean, the bad guy was pretty good. He's kind of played by he's the guy that played Director Krennic in Rogue One. I'd tell you his name, but I'm terrible with names. So yeah, but also he also had this really cool avatar that was like, I want to say his avatar was supposed to be like an evil corporate Lex Luthor, or not Lex Luthor, but Superman. At least that's what I got out of it. It was just this big evil Superman kind of thing. That's what it looked like to me. I think it would have been totally cool if they'd actually had him like be in like an imperial uniform, just kind of throw shade at that. But I mean, they probably couldn't have gotten that because there was no references to Star Wars in this movie. I'm guessing Disney had something to do with that, because I can't even imagine what any of that stuff would have been like. Let's see here, what else do I got on my list here? Because like I said, it's been a while since it's in the movie, so The Shining. There's this one scene where they got to go into the movie The Shining that was really well done. Like if you'd have taken like some of the stills from this movie where none of the characters are on screen and like put it next to like the actual stills from the actual Shining, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. It's almost as if they like went up to like the Overlook Hotel and actually like filmed a couple of scenes there. Would not have been surprised if you told me that was true. Would not have been surprised. Although I'm fairly certain most of those scenes in the actual Shining were on a set that burned down after filming. So I don't know. Maybe they did it. Maybe they didn't do it. All I know is that was really well done, and that was really good. But I mean, let's see, what else do I got on here? A lot of these are me just kind of complaining and nitpicking about things, and I just probably should have scripted this out better, but when does that ever stop me? It's what am I trying to say here? I mean, a lot of things about this movie was just kind of an movie. I mean, outside of a lot of the references they make in this movie, it's just kind of like guys going looking for these three magical things so they can win the factory. Which, by the way, the fact that that was going on and there was not one reference to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I feel was kind of a missed opportunity. I mean, you really, really could have, done that. At least kind of, made some reference to there. Because, I mean, come on. Come on, really? Yeah. Find these things and then win something. Stuff writes itself. Unlike my script for this. Gundam. No, we'll get to Gundam later. Because Gundam is that stuff's really gonna actually kind of explain a lot of my thoughts on this movie as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there really isn't much to this movie outside of we need to go into the virtual world and find these three keys to basically take control of the company that owns this game and take control of the game. And like the way they got to do that is they got to go like back through this guy's memories to like find clues in his memories to where these three keys are. Problem is I mean, yeah, I'm kind of wondering how they got a lot of these memories in there. Like there's scenes of him sitting around like in the 70s playing Atari, and I'm like, well, how did they get that in there? I mean, I guess he could have recreated it, but that just kind of seems, I don't know, a bit much for me. But whatever. It's so jumping all over the place, kind of talking like an idiot here. I mean, yeah, it's so. Also, other mind complaint I had is there was this Inception meets Tron meets kind of yeah there's some of that going on. It's just all right. So yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about this movie, and there's some stuff that I'm going to really get into here, but I don't want to kind of get into it just yet. But like, as I'm watching this movie, I'm just kind of feeling like, yeah, all right. So, at a loss here because I'm really not that good at this. So yeah, it's just the character actions just kind of seem inconsistent, and some of this stuff just kind of seemed unusual to me. Case in point is there's this one scene where he's talking to his cyber ogre buddy or orc buddy, which really got my Shadowrun nostalgias going. Which anything that reminds me of Shadowrun is always good. Probably would have liked this movie more if there had been more references to Shadowrun, but that's probably not ever going to happen. But like, there's this big scene in there where he's talking about how he's totally in love with this Artemis girl, and his orc buddy H, as he's known as, is like, nah, dude, you don't know anything about her, which one of the things she says later. But anyway, and he also says totally could be some 300-pound dude, in his mother's basement, which. As of the internet today, yeah, I could understand that, but I mean, realize this is a future where you have full dive VR and can meet people all around the world and do all this stuff. I kind of get the feeling that in this world, two people meeting online and kind of hooking up online and having some kind of online relationships and then meeting in the real world wouldn't exactly be that unusual. I mean, just kind of like thinking like, I mean, hell, I myself had a for a while there had a girlfriend online and that was today. So it's like, I kind of get where they're coming from, but it kind of felt to me like it was just kind of like forced in there, Maybe that's just me, wanting this movie. Advertisers. Yeah. Like I get that, avatars are just avatars, and that is like one of the things that the girl brings up when he professes his love for her in the dance scene is like, you don't know anything about me, you only know what I want you to know, and that's fair enough. But like I said, in a world that has full dive VR and you like people, these kind of actions are happening all the time. Like I'm just trying to think here from like future perspective. Would it really be that unusual for something like that from the future perspective? That's I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. But whatever. I obviously she's an incredibly hot girl that is, for whatever reason, incredibly embarrassed by her birthmark, as I said earlier. Why she's embarrassed by this birthmark? I don't know. Didn't look that bad to me, but what do I know? So yeah, they keep going on and on and on and on and on, and I feel like kind of danced around the bush here enough that I should probably get into what my real problem with this movie was. And I guess I could best sum it up. Yeah, wait a minute, that's the answer. Yeah. My main problem with this movie is there is a lot of stuff going on in this movie. There is a lot of references in this movie. Heck, my brother, who has read the book, like, even came to me afterward, and he's like, I really liked the scene towards the end there, where the big climactic battle, spoiler, there's a big climactic battle at the end of this movie, where, to inspire everybody, he plays the song We're Not Gonna Take It, which, I mean, yeah, I guess when I think the 80s, I think hair metal, and when I think hair metal, I think Twisted Sister, but I mean, come on, you're blaring a giant boombox to go defeat the evil bad guy, and you're not, playing You've Got the Touch? Come on. A bit of a missed opportunity. So, anyway, in this one scene, this, they're, fighting all these bad guys, and his orc buddy, who he's met in real life, they're in this postal van that I guess is just a thing that people have in the future. They just have postal vans that they hang around in all the time. And, that's, yeah. So he's hanging out with his, orc buddy in real life, and they also have, this, ninja friend and the samurai friend that, for the life of me, I cannot remember their names, who also just happen to live, in the same city as him. So, worldwide internet, all his friends just happen to live in the same city as him. Whatever. Actually, yeah, Eye of the Tiger probably would have been another good one, but, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, his friend isn't a real ninja, nor is his other friend a real samurai. But they are both Japanese. They make it a point of that. Which, so I'm kind of beating around the bush here. Because it's, like I said, it's been 24 hours since I've seen this movie, and I don't really take good notes. So, as they're going around, they're fighting the bad guys, and they keep saying that they need their samurai friend, who mysteriously has not shown up. His orc buddy is walking around inside this Iron Giant, which, once again, if you like the movie The Iron Giant, you're probably gonna squee at this point, because the Iron Giant's doing his Iron Giant thing and destroying stuff left and right. Which, I can understand that. As mentioned before, when the Gundam showed up, I kind of squeed on the inside because, that's when the samurai guy shows up. He shows up as the Gundam. It's a bit of a minor spoiler there, but, I mean, if you watch the previews, you can see that Gundam shows up in the previews. And that's where, now I'm going to go on a rant here because I am a very, very big fan of Mobile Suit Gundam, particularly like the original Mobile Suit Gundams, like Gundam and Zeta Gundam. You know, a lot of the stuff in the UC timeline. You know, that's my jam. That's what I enjoy. So of course this stuff is immediately going to stick out to me. But okay, so you have this guy. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna use the Gundam because he has this thing in game that lets him be any giant robot he wants to be for, you know, a set amount of time. So he chooses to be the Gundam. And like, okay, so when he launches at the Gundam, this is gonna seem like a nitpick, but I'll get at what I'm trying to go for here. If you can figure out what I'm going for is, like, one of the classic things about Gundam is, whenever Gundam would launch, you know, Amuro would always say Gundam Ikimasu, which I'm probably saying that word wrong. It's like, you know, Gundam launching or Gundam going or you know, Gundam heads out or something like that. And that's, you know, I kind of feel that, you know, this guy's Japanese and he's specifically choosing a Gundam, so, you know, you're gonna, why would you not, like, why wouldn't he say this? And then when there's this whole, like, big prolonged scene as he's, like, slowly transforming into the Gundam because he wasn't piloting the Gundam, which kind of confuses me, and they don't even, like, have, like, in Gundam, there's, like, kind of this unique, like, startup sound for the Gundam itself that, you know, it's like, I would almost call it iconic. It's kind of this winding up sound of the Gundam powering up and standing up, and you don't even, like, put that in there, you know? Once again, you know, you're probably going to, once again, you could just say, this is just me nitpicking, but hold on, I'm trying to go somewhere for this. And then, I mean, is also, like, when he, like, lands as the Gundam, you know, they didn't even do, like, the classic Gundam eye flash. Once again, you're thinking I'm nitpicking. But the point that I'm trying to get here is like with, like, the Gundam eye flash and the Gundam startup noise, and I even had a brief conversation with somebody about the Gundam shooting out, you know, exhaust from the exhaust things on its chest, which I could nitpick right there, which I actually could nitpick on that right there. It's kind of this iconic scene in the original Gundam where he, like, stands up and shoots steam out there, or not steam, but the exhaust out there, and you're probably thinking, well, that's just kind of nitpicking, right? But, like I said, I'm a Gundam fan. I got a lot of stuff with Gundam, and, like, that's something that's always present in, like, almost every Gundam game. It seems like such an innocuous thing, but, like, when you see it, you're like, it puts you in the mood, you know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, this is kind of, like, so iconic that all these things that you hear were also present in the, like, life-size to scale model of the Gundam when they built it in Japan. Like, that's how, like, iconic these things are, and that's basically what I'm trying to get at here is, like, okay, it's like that scene in the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie where he stops and looks at the phone booth. Or not the phone booth, but the payphone that's not in a booth. It's like, to the outside observer, most people are like, okay, I don't get why that happened. But to a fan who knows this stuff, a fan who's going to be, like, invested in this stuff, like, they're going to get that. And if the way that they're advertising this movie and the way that, like, everybody keeps telling me about this movie and everything about this movie seems like this would be something that they would have included. And my real problem with this movie is there's a lot of stuff in here, but there's no heart behind it. There's no, like, substance behind it. Like, all the stuff I just said about the Gundam. If that would have been there, like, Gundam fans would have, like, you know, lost their stuff, because Gundam fans would have got that, and it would have shown that, the movie makers, did their research. They did their, they took time to actually research this stuff out and, present it to us in a somewhat authentic way. Like I said, my brother was really excited to see the Battletoads in this movie. Battletoads don't do anything. They're just there. They're just there in the background. Like you see all this stuff in the background, and it's just used as set dressing. And I guess it kind of conflicts with me because, the main idea of this movie is, he's, the guy who's going to get the golden ticket, not only does they kind of get this idea across that, in order to get this golden ticket, you not only do you have to, actually go out there, do the research and find this stuff, but then you have to do these tests to get it, to prove that you respect this stuff and you actually like this stuff. So it's you're telling me that okay, in order for him to win and be this stuff, he has to have all this pop culture knowledge and he has to respect all this pop culture knowledge, but the movie itself is unwilling to show the same respect when it shows the pop culture stuff. And that's what gets me. That is my main point of contention with the movie, as evident by my winded rant about the Gundam and my winded rant about the Akira slide. And, like I said, Gundam is very important to me, and it probably bugged me even more about the Gundam stuff because, like I said, I'm such a big Gundam fan, and this is probably the only time I'm ever going to see, a Gundam in any form on the big screen. So now you know where I'm coming from and why that just bugged me so much. But it's like I said before, it's the heart of the situation. That is what's bugging me. So yeah, that's another thing. For example, they show the Lancer from Gears of War, the chainsaw gun, and it's just there. They just have it. They don't do anything with it. It shows up, and then immediately gets destroyed. And I mean, if you're gonna, it's a gun with a chainsaw bayonet. At least give us a gratuitous scene of you sawing one of these, corporate stooges in half with it. At least give us that before you break it. So, I kind of feel like I'm starting to kind of, repeat myself here. So I'm going to try and just kind of bring this, review around to a conclusion, because you can probably hear it in my voice that I'm kind of conflicted on this movie. I kind of feel like, they want me to like it, but it just rings hollow to me. And, maybe it's because I didn't read the book. Maybe it's because I just kind of, I tried to go into this movie with an open mind, and maybe I went into it wanting to hate it. So maybe there's some of that too. Ultimately, at the end of the day, would I recommend seeing this movie? Well, that's kind of subjective. If you sit back and you watch the previews for this movie and think to yourself, "Oh yeah, I love this movie. This movie looks awesome." I don't know if you'll enjoy it. maybe you will. Go ahead. If you read the book and enjoyed the book, well, I saw it with my brother and his wife. They read the book. They really enjoyed it. So, you know, I guess if you read the book, you'd probably enjoy it. Someone like me, though, honestly, I don't know. Because I didn't like this movie, but I didn't hate this movie. I guess overall, my final verdict on this movie is I was disappointed. Really, I mean, like the story on its own was just kind of not a whole lot going on there. The story was the pop culture references just rang hollow to me, and you know it just didn't do it for me. So I guess that's my final review of the movie. I mean, overall this movie is just kind of a big eh. And also, totally in the final battle, there was really no air support. I mean, come on, we can't do something cool like have like a Star Viper, you know, flying in formation with, you know, Pete Mitchell and you know, Doug Masters. Nothing. No. Yeah. So I guess with that, I'm gonna bring this review to a close here, and yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully my ranting and raving gave you, at the very least, gave you some kind of excitement here. So if it did, you know, let me know if this is something you like. Just me kind of playing a game while I try to express my thoughts on a movie. You know, let me know. Let the social know, and you know, this might be something that I try to do further, because, you know, like I said before, you steal from one person, steal from everybody. It's research, and, you know, a lot of internet reviewers like that. And I know what some of you are thinking, but DM for somebody that says that, you know, how can you get angry at this movie for doing just that? Because they didn't do that. It's just set dressing. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it again. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video, and, you know, I'll see you next time.